Every year, the Royal Institute of British Architects holds a competition to find Britain's best new house. And after the success of last year's televised event, I'm giddily excited to say that House of the Year is back with even more of these exceptional homes.
We'll be taking you behind normally closed doors.
Oh, ow! Too small, that door.
To see some of the most original and mind-boggling homes which have won the hearts and minds of the judges.
A large, black, charcoal textured box.
We've been touring the country, looking at the long list of houses in the running for House of the Year.
Beam me up, Scotty.
So far, we've revealed 4 houses on the shortlist.
Very elegant, very elegant. It's like a Georgian staircase, this.
Today, we're looking at houses that prove that small is beautiful.
What a charming, light space up in the eaves.
Thank you.
And discovering which of them have been shortlisted.
And then, at the end of the series, we'll be finding out, here on Channel 4, which one of the homes is the RIBA House of the Year for 2016. These homes are truly remarkable. Each one is an example. We can take inspiration from all of them. So, come inside and have a good nosy around.
So far in our romp through the competition, we've seen houses built in the open landscape.
How brilliant is that? That is, in a way, the money shot.
And houses that are deeply experimental.
Am I imagining? No. The bath drains straight onto the floor.
Yes.
The houses we're visiting in this episode aren't big, but they are clever. The works of good architects with all kinds of tricks up their sleeves to work wonders on a small space.
So there's a misconception we need to clear up here. It's that space does not equal size, okay? So, for example, you could build a mansion with 18 bathrooms, which is ridiculous, I know, and still not have enough storage. Or you could take a lesson from the greats of architecture and you could build a really tiny house with lots of clever ideas in it, say, hidden cupboards, false perspectives, high ceilings, views out that capture a little bit of sky, a view to infinity. And in doing that, you almost defy the laws of physics. You become a conjurer of space.
We start in East London. Somewhere behind these Victorian streets is the Garden House.
So, where is it? Yeah, architecture may be the great public art, but it sometimes hides itself under a bushel.
This is a 2-storey home, stealthily cloaked from its neighbours by an extraordinary space-age green roof.
Oh, this is beautiful. It's like a little garden room.
Built for living and working, the ground floor has a bedroom, bathroom with a large open-plan living room and kitchen. The addition of a second floor provides a valuable separate workspace, all neatly veiled beneath a pyramidal planted roof on a pocket handkerchief of a site.
Ooh.
It's home to Paddy and Keir.
Hello.
Kevin.
Paddy.
Paddy, pleased to meet you. And Keir, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Quite tricky finding it.
Yes,
It doesn't announce itself to the street, this building.
No, tucked away a little, but we're at the bottoms of everyone's gardens.
Formerly a cramped ground floor live workspace, Paddy and Keir developed their business here for 20 years, designing leather costumes for fashion designers and movies.
What was the building you were in like before then?
It was barely 700 square feet, everything, your whole life.
It was a studio flat.
Yeah.
So what we're standing in now then, is that a remodelling of the existing building or a rebuild?
Complete demolition. Total demolition and gone down and up.
Wow.
Because the intention is for us to show our work in here, we only wanted small things that we can take down so we can show a piece on that wall, a piece there, you know, and have a few people around to see what you've made, sort of thing. We always knew that we were going to go up another story, and that's where the whole conversation about the roof came up.
Going up a story in a conservation area on a tight plot overlooked by over a dozen neighbours was going to be a tough sell to the planners. But the architects came up with a delightful solution.
The idea of the garden roof, I mean, A, it was a response to planning and trying to ameliorate the kind of the look of the new building from the surrounding streets. But also it gave Paddy and Keir somewhere to actually garden. And this idea that, you know, you could go to the roof and actually garden your garden, that we thought was a really sweet idea.
Adding this gorgeous roof gave them a total of 30 extra square metres inside. So there's a new studio and a living area below, now completely free of work clutter.
We have lived and worked together for nearly 30 years in a very small space.
And now you have that separation of the two. Does it change life? Has it changed the dynamic between you? Do you see less of each other as a result?
Well, at least there's somewhere to go when you've had a Barney.
Yeah, if you need a bit of a break from each other, there's some proper escape now.
Is that a bathroom in there?
Yeah, through the...
Okay, now have a look. Oh, that's very stylish.
As designers, it's no surprise that Paddy and Keir have been fastidious in the detail, choosing simple, clean fittings, a limited colour palette and beautiful materials. Stone floors inside and out, and oak cabinetry. The RIBA admired the fine detailing of this peaceful and private home, and how the architects have used every conceivable trick to make a small space work hard.
Everything is kind of sort of pared back, isn't it, in the building, to as kind of thin as possible. You have a minimal steel staircase and a minimal steel shelf. The section of which is so narrow to take up the least amount of space.
Yeah. And of course, the shelf incorporates a screen for the projector back there.
But so the television isn't enough. This is for big. This is big time.
A big picture, big sound.
Yeah.
We have friends round very regularly for film shows. It's like something that we like to do. So
that just stopped.
Yeah. It was quite tight.
Perfectly. 30 millimeters above the table.
Yeah.
So now, what I want to know is where the bedroom starts and where the kitchen stops. So this is a Oh no, that's outside. There's a coats.
That's the cloakroom. Yeah.
Oh, and this is the door.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice because it's taken up in the depth of the cupboard.
Yeah.
So, back of kitchen cupboards.
Yeah.
But these are wardrobes. But it's all integrated into one beautiful timber-lined.
Yeah, a bit of joinery.
Room, and a skylight, which drafts this beautiful kind of soft light down.
I was very keen to wake up with good light, and obviously I wake up and what I see is all this mirror and the getting.
Oh, blimey! So
you're getting sort of projection on the wall there.
Reflection on reflection on reflection on reflection, then finally down onto the wall.
I bet you've never seen a house that plays as many tricks with mirrors. Nor, I bet, do you have a staircase as paper-thin as this. It's a space maker.
This is a staircase that almost isn't here. I mean, it's made out of 5mm steel, folded, and it turns into a shelf.
Yes, and it runs in on one edge, which makes an interesting shape.
Force 5 Engineering in Faversham were specially commissioned to build it.
The design of the staircase and the material used gives it a simple but effective look. The challenge is for finishing on it. That's the difficult part, you know. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into making these finished products. The main processes are welding. Once it's welded, it's then going to be cleaned, which is a grinding process, and it needs to be seamless so that Paddy and Keir get that visual effect that they were after.
The architects have played with angles and perspectives to fit the studio into the roof space.
This is even more exquisitely tidy than downstairs. Upstairs, the building takes off. The shapes it makes with the lining on the walls.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, the false perspective.
Yeah, it's really fabulous.
Yeah, my dear Uncle Roger, who was a set designer for Doctor Who back in the day, came up and just went, "What are you doing? It's false perspective. It's all smoke and mirrors what you're doing," you know. And got quite sort of...
I'll remember this is the Doctor Who building. Yeah. Even the door is got a false perspective. So it fits. Is that right? It fits the hole here.
Yeah, so that's a leaf door, which...
I'm sorry. I just want to do this slowly because it must be. Oh. It's so satisfying, isn't it?
But I think the real stroke of genius was putting the prefabricated roof glass element on top of the building and then carrying the panelling on up into the space, which was very, very clever.
I find it quite difficult to believe that you do really difficult, messy work up here. It's an extremely tidy space.
Yes, I think that's an absolutely fair comment, and it's I guess there's a studio for poncing about it.
That's what it is. After years of living in a squalid mess, you now have the opportunity to ponce about a bit. Can we get onto the roof here?
Yes.
Is that what that door's for?
Over that way.
Oh, my Lord. It's bloody brilliant.
Thank you.
By sheer dint of scale, it's bloody brilliant. It's small things repeated again and again and again and again in trays. It's great.
This pioneering roof is a series of specially commissioned stainless steel troughs, more a rainbow of colour than a green roof. Keir has put in over 800 plants.
At its heart, it's quite experimental. I'll be fascinated to see what it looks like in 10 years' time. I can't even... part of me dreads to think.
I know it got you your planning permission.
Yeah.
But what you've done here is actually made a very generous gift of something to everybody here. And that's, buildings don't usually do that.
It makes me think of California. I look out on it and I feel like it's just for me,
The entire house is an imaginative and efficient piece of architecture.
I don't quite understand this. This steel shelf runs all the way down the building. It gets fatter, then thinner. And it's got a vertical rib, which is running from this corner all the way through to here, giving you a shelf in the sitting room and a shelf in the kitchen. It's very practical.
As well as practicality and detailing, the RIBA praised the imaginative bespoke hanging garden roof.
I don't know if you sew, mend clothes or make your own clothes, but if you do, you'll appreciate the value of a really good sewing box with little drawers for everything. All the things you need, which is sort of what this place is. These guys have commissioned the most glorious, traditional little wooden box. And to top it all, it is crowned off with this fabulous collection of jewels from the natural world. A fantastic pincushion.
Coming up, a family home squeezed into a muse.
It's not very high and it's not very wide, but it feels huge.
Where would we be without glass? Oh no, our homes would be dark. Most of our city buildings would, of course, be naked and small. Otherwise, brilliantly laid out houses would feel poky and miserable. Glass offers salvation to the builder of the small house. It can suggest space, even infinity beyond the confines of the building. It, of course, brings in light. It even can suggest ambiguity. A wall can half disappear, even a floor.
Architect Zach Munro went to meet Dan and Ruth, who've completely transformed their London muse house.
Hiya, Ruth.
Hello, Zach.
Hey.
Very nice to meet you.
Love to meet you. What a spot, eh?
This is our son, Edward.
Hello. Can I go in?
Please do.
Thank you.
This 4-storey home sits on a tiny site, just 3 metres wide and 8 metres deep, but ekes out 112 square metres of living space. In the basement, there's an open-plan living room. A kitchen diner spans the ground floor. Above is a master bedroom and bathroom with 2 smaller bedrooms and a shower room at the top. All the floors are linked by one continuous sculptural staircase that runs through the middle of the house.
absolutely incredible. What a house. This is just beautiful, really unexpected and stunning. What's the story here?
This is part of the story here.
That's right. So the original layout of the house was very different. Our master bedroom was downstairs in the basement area with a bathroom, and there were 2 bedrooms on the top floor of the house, and we had a very small spiral staircase right at the back corner. So the configuration is perfect for a couple, but when we were thinking about hopefully having a family, as it was at that time, we knew that the configuration of the house was going to have to change, and it was going to need some quite serious overhaul for us to be able to do that.
The solution to drawing light into the building was architect Phil Coffey's beautiful central staircase.
So the location of the staircase is critical in a muse house. If you place the staircase at the back of the house, you only have 1 space per floor, which reduces the amount of spaces the client has to use. If you put the staircase to the side, you reduce the width, and the width is critical in a muse house. So by placing the staircase down the middle, we get light in from the top. The screens either side allow light either side to the floor plates, and when you get to the bottom, the basement is bathed in light.
But a staircase alone doesn't illuminate an entire basement. A huge skylight channeling light through 3 glass floors completes the job.
In the original plans, the glass between the floors was translucent and had a non-slip finish. But in fact, we were so enamoured of how you could see and speak and communicate and wave through the glass that we decided to keep it as it was.
What about dresses? I mean, do people just sort of...
Yeah, we're not going to have a Marilyn Monroe-themed party here.
In the kitchen and dining room, the challenge was to fit in all the appliances in a space no bigger than a garage.
I mean, it's not a huge kitchen by any stretch of the imagination, but it feels quite big. This feels quite comfortable.
We didn't want her to feel too hemmed in. So the first thing was losing cabinets, high cabinets.
Yeah.
So everything is either along the back wall and below waist height on the side. This is the...
I mean,
the cavernous.
Plenty of space in here.
It is gigantic. And the lighting, I remember, lighting is critical, always critical, especially in a little space like this. And the fact that it's all done with these little LED strips, LED strips, that drop onto this kind of brick wall.
These bricks are just slips, the thin face of the brick taking up less width in the room.
I'll have a look down here.
Downstairs in the basement, there is more space-defying trickery.
Oh, it even smells special. Wow. I mean, again, this is just sort of a stroke of genius. It's not very high, and it's not very wide, but it feels huge.
Well, we managed to keep the width by not having anything cutting across the space. So this fireplace in particular is quite cool because it sits underneath the stairs and becomes the stairs.
These materials, this concrete feels really appropriate.
Yeah, you've got the earth and the sky, and you transition through the house and the materials get slightly lighter as you go through from concrete to wood and eventually to glass on the top of the house.
And it's just an exquisite bit of design. You can't really underestimate the effect of a skylight, getting top light into a kind of basement area. And it's actually kind of rather nice to get a little kind of slither of mirror to start to get yet another view up to the upper floors.
Warning, moving up through the house can induce vertigo for the uninitiated.
Ooh. Oh, wow. It's rather nice. This is the master bedroom.
Yes, that's right.
It's great. I noticed that there's not a single kind of, let's say, normal opening door in the house. It's all these kind of guys.
No, that's right. And this is the sort of Japanese feel of it.
We went on our honeymoon in 2010 to Japan in cherry blossom season, and we loved the Japanese aesthetic, and we've tried to recreate some of that here.
Hidden storage inside the bed absorbs the clutter of the room. And Japanese ideas abound. There is translucent washi paper in the sliding doors, which move to reveal long, clear views.
It is quite surprising to see this much of an opening, but having something this wide means that it's not a room, it's a floor. You know, it's a whole floor of stuff rather than a series of rooms.
The bathroom is the obvious place where mirrors and glass come into their own, reflecting the white brick walls and suggesting yet more space.
Oh, this is great. Ooh, another bit of top floor magic. So this is Teddy's room, is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a small room, but there's not the sign of a spotlight or a knob. All you've got is, you know, is these panels of oak.
This modern muse is on the RIBA long list because it reinvents space. It's a clear, single idea executed with precision and romance.
In the name of allowing this family to stay here, the architect's taken every single centimetre and got the absolute maximum out of it. It's a kind of maximalism. And this top light that falls through the staircase right down to the heart of the building, he's made it look effortless.
Past winners have shown that even the smallest space can provide a home. Gap House in West London won in 2009. At the front, it's only 2.4 metres wide, filling what was once a slender alleyway between two houses.
Just when you think there aren't any little gaps left or any leftover bits of land, they're always there in the city, you just have to find them.
But by repeatedly opening the house towards the back garden, Luke produced a 4-bedroom home with generous living spaces filled with natural light.
Each floor, as you go up the house, gets shorter and narrower. And organising the house with the living accommodation at the ground, you're spending most of your time in the biggest space, and therefore the house feels generous. And it's only when you're going up to bed and going to the loo, you're using the smaller spaces. The surprise to me about the house, living in it rather than designing it, was how quiet and how secluded it was through having a very small frontage and then sort of large open plan courtyard at the back. Essentially, it's very cut off from the rest of the neighbourhood, so there's this quiet haven in a relatively sort of central bit of city.
So we've seen two beautiful small projects that wrangle space from nowhere. We've got 3 more to go before we discover which of them has made it to the shortlist.
The barren beauty of this stretch of the southeast Kent coastline has been attracting artists and architects for decades.
There is an alternative, sort of experimental quality to life here in Dungeness. So not surprisingly, architects leap at the opportunity to build something here. The new kid on the block is a house called North Vat. Actually, this is the North Vat. There are 2 of them. There's one at the south, one at the north. They're both listed, and they were used for boiling up the nets of the fishermen in tannin to protect them. Of course, now it's not used because fishing is in decline here. But the legacy of that industry persists in the architecture of this place, an architecture of sheds.
Sheds are the world's basic, most adaptable dwellings. If you want more space, just add more sheds. The main shed here is a large open-plan living dining area with a kitchen. Above hangs a mezzanine with a double bedroom and shower room. A seemingly invisible glass link leads to 2 separate baby sheds for use as extra bedrooms or for just admiring the view.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, very nice to meet you.
Pauline's all right, yeah?
It is, and David.
This sleek, angular silhouette of a home belongs to Pauline and David, a retired couple from London.
I love this approach, that this access, this view through to the sea is fantastic because it sets the stage, doesn't it?
Well, we just see it as soon as we arrive.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel you're home.
There are no new plots in Dungeness, so Pauline and David had to replace an existing home. The planners insisted that the new house didn't take up any more space than the previous one, and that the new building reflected the style of the original fishermen's huts.
The main act is this way, yeah?
Yes, why not come in?
So this is sort of the front door we're going through. It's interesting this, because on the outside the building looks to be smaller. You wouldn't think you'd get all of this space into that dark volume, and yet it's remarkably spacious inside, isn't it?
The room is light and airy, helped by a raised ceiling on either side of the mezzanine, which formed part of Pauline's basic brief.
I just started with a room, and it was the ability, well, what do we need? We live in one room. We should have one room with a shelf above it for the bed. So that's where it started.
I like that definition, a room with a shelf above it for the bed. This is one of those buildings that I imagine, you know, as the sun moves around the building, there's so much glass, you get to see the shadows move and...
Never ever the same. Light is always important. And this was an opportunity starting from scratch, because here we could have the sun all the day, from when it came up to when it went down.
The sun is rising there over the sea in the morning, see it coming up like just that over the sea, and then right in the evening there it's setting in the summer behind me, and then in the winter it's more over the power station. So it's like one big clock of the seasons, and you're living with it. It's a very primitive but a lovely feeling.
That sense of well-being comes also from Pauline and David's choice of a much simpler approach to life.
So in terms of the discipline then, how easy has that been? Finding stuff, putting it in here, not over-cluttering it, you know, being...
Easy. You know, we have the painting, but because it's so light, we can just take it down in the evening.
That's where you put your telly?
Yeah.
I like the fact that there isn't a button to press and some complicated machinery rotates the entire wall.
The vital organs of the building are neatly hidden away around the chimney stack, and extra storage runs the length of the living room.
And then we come to the kitchen.
This of itself, this unit we're in, is actually effectively a piece of wall. I mean, the wall's been pushed out here. You've shunted the whole thing out.
The architects have cleverly stolen some space by cantilevering out over the original permitted footprint.
Shall I show you the upstairs?
On and up.
Off we go.
Their next space-conjuring trick was to sneak a mezzanine bedroom below the low-pitched roof.
What a charming, light space up in the eaves.
Thank you.
You know, which is beautiful, and a great view out, which almost looks like a frosted window today because of the cloud. Do that sort of haze, you know? Yeah.
And then if you turn around, you see
oh,
the sea.
blimey, you get to see the horizon. So here you can genuinely lie in bed and in the morning watch the shipping and...
Yes.
Yeah. So this window is lower because we're lying down.
Yeah.
And that one's higher because you're sitting on the bench.
Capturing those views, conjuring space and storage, and connecting Pauline and David to their remarkable surroundings, all within the planning constraints, was a task that fell to architect Sinisha Roddick.
There were lots of constraints, and the only way to actually extend what used to be a rather small building was to effectively bring together various outbuildings as sheds and create this kind of idea of a cluster.
And that idea of cluster is really strong here on the coastline, isn't it? Because every house has got its cluster of sheds and outhouses with it.
It does, and I think we wanted to retain this sense of randomness, and we played endlessly with kind of how these three little individual rooms can actually sit in relation to each other, so that they're sometimes beautiful, but sometimes they're conflicting.
North Vat made the judges' longlist because of its elegant mix of high architecture and beach living. It allows Pauline and David to occupy every room and always connect to the landscape, which they can enjoy to its fullest extent.
What I've learned today is that if you want to build in the spirit of the shack, then you must be very careful not to fall into the pitfalls of pastiche and conceit. Now, in this place, the brilliance of it is down to its modesty, its simplicity, the fact that despite being an perfectly habitable, modern building, it has the simple dignity of the shed.
From the humble shed to a Victorian villa. Damien Burrows went to Harrogate to investigate the next home on the RIBA's long list. From the front, it might look traditional, but at the back, its Victorian heritage has accommodated something a little more up to date. This very modern conversion is made up of a day room and small corridor that leads to a children's play area and utility room. An angular lean-to provides a new staircase that links this lower space to the kitchen above. It may only be a 66 square metre conversion, but it's been chosen by the judges for its transformative effect, revitalising what was a dark and dingy basement, and so unlocking the potential of the whole house. Ruth Donnelly was the architect for the home's owners.
It's very much about trying to draw you into the space downstairs. And I guess that's what the angles of the roof do. And these angles help to reflect light into the dining room and the kitchen.
So by adding this small extension to the side of the house, you're actually allowing the owners to entertain in the kitchen whilst keeping an eye on the children that are playing in the garden, and just open up all of that visual connection through the house.
It also creates an acoustic connection because we've created these new openings into the dining room and into the kitchen, and obviously into the basement rooms. If the children are downstairs playing in the playroom or in the day room, watching a bit of telly, playing a game, they can hear.
Okay. So, Ruth, what led to the layout of the plan down here?
The whole purpose of the opening of the basement was to create a big living space which opened directly to the garden, and then a playroom at the back. There's a sliding door which can partition that off and hide all sorts of sins.
There's no getting away from the fact that it is a slightly challenging ceiling height. Was there ever a temptation to just dig down a bit more?
There was a real temptation because one of the owners is very tall, but it was just going to cost tens of thousands of pounds more, which wasn't worth it really. There were a few things that we could do to make it feel bigger. One was to obviously use the same floor throughout, and the other was to maintain the ceiling all the way throughout. So we've pushed all the structural elements up into the ceiling void. And also the use of full height doors helps to give the impression that, again, quite a grand space.
Outside, the owners wanted something modern yet understated. Ruth chose fibre cement board made from cement and reinforcing fibres. It's tough, sleek and cost-effective.
So it's when you step outside here that you really notice the quality of this material.
The reason we chose it was because it's very much a hard, flat material. It's not going to pockmark over time, and we could use it for the walls and the roof. But in doing that, it caused a few technical difficulties in the design front, because essentially this is just a facade. It's not providing any waterproofing. All the waterproofing is hidden behind. So any rain that gets in sort of gets through the gaps and just runs down the side of the building to these channels on the floor here.
So that's how you can maintain this sort of stealth-like shape.
Fibre cement board is extremely durable and often used for commercial buildings, but it works perfectly well here. Its dark, flat finish also quietly refers to the roof's black eaves and soffits, while respecting the home's Victorian character.
We've got one more box of tricks to look at before we discover which two have made it to the judges' shortlist.
Coming up, a house squeezed into the site of a former garage.
The visionary late Georgian architect Sir John Soane wanted a home that was also a museum to display his prolific collection of architectural bits and artworks, and where he couldn't display them, he cleverly used every inch of space to store the overflow. This next house in our search for the RIBA House of the Year is an extraordinary example of how people can live happily alongside an art collection.
Damien Burrows has been to visit this extraordinary home on the south coast, dedicated to the art of its owners.
There's artwork all around this house, from fantastic murals in front to a beautifully carved stone plaque announcing the name. Even approaching the house, there's tiny little bits of artwork even inlaid in the floor.
The narrow house is just 4.7 metres wide, built on the site of a former garage. The RIBA praised it for being part home, part gallery, and part lookout post over the sea. Made of concrete, the semi-submerged ground floor is mainly utility space with a spare bedroom. On the first floor, there's a living area, kitchen, diner, and TV room at the back. Above is a master bedroom, bathroom, and office. And on top, a glorious terrace. It's home to art collector Rose, who lives here with her husband, Brian.
Rose, how are you?
Very well, come in.
Thank you.
That was cool.
My God, wow, look at this floor. It's amazing. I love these tiles.
I collected them bit by bit from junk shops. It gives you an excuse to go into a junk shop, have you any tiles, and brought them from the house we used to live next door.
They lived here for 40 years. It was 3 times the size and packed with art, which Rose has collected since 1963. The new house, built from their old garage, had to somehow absorb it all.
Rose, I love this house. This is fantastic. Good. You have so many pieces of art. It's a very carefully crafted house.
It is,
What was the brief? What did you want to achieve from this?
I wanted a house that would be okay to be by the sea. It had to be someone who could make a wonderful house on a tiny space. I think if you have as much space as you want, you don't build a good house. Yeah. It'll just be, all over the shop.
Everything's better with constraints,
I think so. I think it gives it shape and it gives it a purpose. And the purpose of this house was really the art. I mean, they were wonderful, the architects. They humoured me, and I dragged them to the Soane Museum because of which I'm sure you know very well.
Yeah, I do.
Because we have to do it quite gently.
Shall I get this one?
Yeah, yes, please.
Ah.
And so that makes a lot more space.
Wow. I mean, you can never tire of that, can you?
No, and I just keep adding to it.
Stealing John Soane's ideas to layer artwork was a good idea. To combine them with the use of modern materials like steel mesh was even more ingenious.
Because you can move it so easily with the clips, you can just clip them, unclip them and move them. I can squeeze them all up together and get some more in.
Very clever. There's a fantastic exposed sort of quality to the house. You can see the materials everywhere.
Yes, I like this. I like it because it's honest and it's functional, but concrete also happens to be beautiful.
And one of the things that's also particularly nice is your use of mirror on the reveals here. They just expand your view, don't they? You almost forget the neighbours are there.
You don't see them at all. They don't see us. And you can just look out and see this immense horizon going on and on.
It's truly beautiful.
It gives me shivers. I get a frisson even now. So beautiful.
I could stand here all afternoon. There's just artwork absolutely everywhere.
Yes.
You must have run out of space now. Surely.
Well, I have, but I haven't. There, I'll show you something.
That is fantastic. Using these sliding screens in such an ingenious way. Fantastic. This is such a lovely room. It feels very intimate, it feels very warm, it feels like a study.
Yes, well, I think that we felt, you don't always want to be in a wide open space. Sometimes you want to sort of be cosy and cuddle up.
The sliding panel door that separates these 2 rooms off is a great little piece of architecture.
Yes, it works beautifully.
Are there any other little moments like that?
Yes, there's several around the house, but there's actually one in here that is...
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just closes it all out, but still lets that little bit of dappled light through.
Yes.
Coming back out into the staircase here, Rose, it really reinforces just how narrow the site is.
Rose chose architect Sanai Hopkins to magic this remarkable house out of her old garage.
Well, it was going to be a precast frame, but there just simply wasn't the room for the crane. So we then fell back onto, how the houses on the terrace were traditionally built, which was just in situ concrete, which gives it a character that actually makes it more grounded. But the challenge was condensing what was in there into what was in effect a car parking space.
On the first floor, there's a bedroom, bathroom, and private space and storage for Ruth's husband, Brian.
Very ingeniously, our architects devised a way of generating that there.
The whole thing slides out?
The whole thing slides out, and then there's another one behind it.
What do you have in this section of that?
I use this as a working office. And then, on occasion, I'm a light sleeper. We developed use for this capacity.
Oh, I see. So you've got even a pull-down bed in here as well.
Yes, indeed. It comes right down like that.
Fantastic.
And do another.
So this is for late night working, or when you've had an argument.
A few of those.
It's a hard-working part of the house, isn't it? This is a hard-working space.
It is very intense, yes. But it's been made to work very well, and I congratulate the artists on what they've done with the space. It's good.
In the bedroom, yet more art has been ingeniously stored away.
That's amazing against the yellow. Isn't that incredible?
And also used to screen off Rose's bath.
Can I see what the view's like from there?
Help us up.
Very
Face the
easy.
sea. And then relax.
Ah, wow. This is quite something, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nothing between you and the sea.
I'll take that glass of wine.
Despite the narrowness of the house, it really opens up out to the sky up on the roof terrace.
Right, this is
this.
our beach in the sky.
This is fantastic. It's that ultimate reward, isn't it, for going up the three flights, that narrow staircase, and then right at the end, bang.
As art has spilt out onto the roof, it's also spread down into the basement.
This is a great room. You've got a beast of a concrete wall there.
That was the original seawall at the back of the garage. It's not been hidden. It's just concrete, which is what we're talking about. It's simple, and it's useful, and it's strong. I love it.
The narrow house wonderfully demonstrates just how much house you can get out of a very restricted site. This eccentric building uses modern industrial materials like concrete and steel to produce multi-layered rooms. It is both a home and a storage box full of wit and surprise. So, which two of these 5 extraordinary homes will the judges pick for the shortlist? The garden house, a TARDIS with a bejewelled pyramidal planted roof. The modern muse, which elegantly conjures light and space from nowhere. North Vat, a dense cluster of striking sheds that revel in their landscape. The basement conversion that revitalises a Victorian home in Harrogate, or the narrow house, part home, part gallery.
So, it is now time to find out which of these lovely, alluring buildings has made it to the shortlist for House of the Year 2016.
It's been an arduous task for the judges to decide. But after much deliberation, the head of the jury, Meredith Bowles, has the results.
So, Meredith, tell me, which is the first of these small projects that you've shortlisted?
So the first one is Garden House by Hayhost & Co. in East London. There is so much going on. I mean, I think they've taken every opportunity that's going and made something of it, including the roof. Who would have thought it? Which the neighbours now look onto and is a huge benefit for them.
Yeah, that takes some beating.
But it's a lot more to it than that, I think. If it was just the roof, it wouldn't be on the shortlist. This is a very clever use of space. There's tiny spaces that are made bigger through the use of reflections and roof lights. You know, they've really maximised, as you said, what's there into something which is bigger than you thought might be able to go there.
We never, I must admit, we never ever entertained or thought that this would happen or that we'd become involved with some sort of process like this.
We built this for ourselves. You know, I didn't expect it to be a piece of architecture out there in the world, as it were. So I think that...
Yeah, that's true, actually.
It's something that's happened that we didn't really imagine.
Tell me about this next small house that you've shortlisted.
So this is Modern Muse by Coffey Architects in West London. This is another job where the existing building has been completely reimagined. It's clever. It's 3 stories deep, going down into a basement, and it manages to get light right down into it, such that all the rooms actually feel pretty fabulous to be in. That's the cleverness of it. But then how it's actually been resolved and built, the craftsmanship of it, the intricacy of the detailing, the sliding screens, one room being able to see to the next. I mean, they love that.
That's so exciting. I can't believe we've been shortlisted. It's such a privilege. We started this project to make a special home for our family and to have a long-term future living in London, and to have the work that the architectural team, our contractor team, and we have put into it. It's just really special.
All of the houses that we've seen in this programme are exquisite. They're all beautiful. And they are all born of the need to deal with some really difficult constraints, things like lack of storage and space and light. But 2 of them have made it to the shortlist, not because they deal with these constraints in any better way, but because the architects have brought to these buildings other qualities, things like joy and delight.